All right, important questions to ask before you start recording. Are you wearing pants? If it even matters. And does this shirt show off too much nipple? These are important questions.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Will, and welcome back to another spoiler review here on the channel. I am taking a look at episodes 2 and 3 of Marvel's Secret Invasion. I've decided to clump the next two episodes in as a pair, and I'll probably do the same thing for episodes 4 and 5, and maybe just do a singular episode for episode 6 of the finale. But this is a spoiler review for the two most newest episodes of Marvel's Secret Invasion. So if you haven't watched the episodes yet, please make sure you go check out the episodes. They're actually pretty good. It's getting pretty good, getting pretty spicy in the MCU with this series, and then come back and hear my thoughts on it. I'll try to summarize as best as I can. Try not to drag this out too terribly long because I would like to get this out in the next few days. If you happen to be new here and this happens to be your first time checking out one of my videos, hi, my name is Will and I do geeky stuff on the internet. I do reviews and reactions, some discussions, some gaming, some drinking. Just like to have fun, and I hope you enjoy this video as well. If it happens to be your bag and you're interested in hearing it from a geeky bear like myself, please subscribe to the channel because I would greatly appreciate it. So, episodes 2 and 3 of Marvel's Secret Invasion really kind of lay the groundwork for what we can expect for the rest of the season. It kind of gives a lot more of a scope as to how ingrained the Skrull invasion is of Earth, because yes, I made a joke in the first episode that it didn't seem like an invasion, but episode 2 shut me the hell up because we find out in episode 2, after Fury and Talos escaped the bombing in Russia that unfortunately killed Maria Hill, since Fury was gone, a lot more Skrulls made their way to Earth, more than what they kind of originally agreed upon. Episode 2 is entitled Promise, or The Promise, I'm just going to say Promise, is really talking about the promise that Fury made to Talos and to the rest of the Skrulls way back in the mid-90s after the events of Captain Marvel, where they didn't really find them a home, so a lot of them were still on Earth, but they had promised to help continue to find them a new home that they can reside on. At the same token, they will also help Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. with their espionage and things like that, which is kind of why Fury became such a big name, to a certain extent. I mean, Fury did have a hand in it, but in this conversation, it is revealed that there are at least 1 million Skrulls on Earth hiding in plain sight, and some of them have actually assumed the roles of very powerful political leaders. Some are like prime ministers of different countries. Some are political advocates and things like that, like your Tucker Carlson type people and things like that. New information really kind of throws Fury for a loop and puts a little bit of a wedge between him and Talos, and they kind of go off for the rest of the episode on their own to kind of cool off. And you really kind of, you realize based off of this episode, a lot of Gravik's motivations are from the broken promise that Fury had about helping them find a new world. And Gravik has taken it upon himself to claim Earth as their own, and has, with some coordination and manipulation, has gotten the approval of the majority of the Skrull High Council, or the people who are impersonating these higher leaders in government. Also does not help that Fury and Rhodey are kind of on the outs with each other. Rhodey's kind of much more of a liaison when it comes to the United States, having to deal with the response of the bombing in Moscow and the fact that Fury was seen there, and even having to try to get Maria Hill's body back to the States in order to get a proper burial. It puts them kind of on the outs with each other, and there is speculation of if that's really Rhodey or not. So I'll talk about that more once episode 3 kind of rolls around. As much as this episode 2 really kind of showed that the Skrull infiltration is super deep and super ingrained, to the point where they are on the verge of just starting World War III between Russia, the US, and multiple countries. It's not looking too hot, and Fury doesn't have a lot of allies left at this point within this second episode. Also, from the bombing, Sonya, who's played by Olivia Colman, her group were able to capture one of these Skrull bombers and does some interrogation. And Sonya's character reminds me a lot of, I forget her name. She was from Harry Potter, the lady in pink. You know, like the really sadistic one. Very much similar to that character in terms of the quiet intensity and torturous intent that character can inflict on another being. But yeah, we see an interrogation from that, cuts off the Skrull's finger, injects them with a chemical that basically superheats their body in order to try to get information about what Gravik's up to and what his plans are. Most of what was revealed is basically that Gravik is having a machine developed that is supposed to imbue Skrulls not only with the ability to shapeshift like they already have, but also the ability to manipulate powers. Very reminiscent of the creation of the Super Skrull, which in the comics was a Skrull who had all of the powers of the Fantastic Four. Now, we haven't gotten the Fantastic Four in the MCU yet, so most likely they'll have different powers from some of the heroes and villains that we've seen up until this point. We kind of see that in episode 3 when Gravik and Talos have a meeting. Talos stabs Gravik's hand, but he's able to heal, and the healing energy looks a lot like the Extremis abilities from Iron Man 3. Yeah, Gravik has full control of the High Council now, and also it's getting more and more suspicious of Gaia and her position within the group, and this kind of leads into what we see with the events of episode 3 and what that whole situation was in order to reveal Gaia's allegiance and to reveal her part in the leaked information and sabotaging. I guess the biggest surprise for me was in episode 2, besides seeing Fury constantly losing more and more allies and leverage, was actually we get introduced to Fury's wife. I believe the character's name is Vara, and Vara is a Skrull. Kind of makes sense since Fury definitely has a strong tie and relationship with the Skrull race. I'm not really that surprised that he fell in love. And I mean, it's cool, but that also continues to play on the fact that Fury's actions had negative effects on all of his allies, all of his friends. Because with episode 3, which is entitled Betrayal, we know that Vara has had some dealings with Gravik, and also the fact that she holds a little bit of resentment too to Fury for being gone for so long. Not necessarily just from the blip. The blip was hard on her because she thought he was dead, and obviously he came back, but then immediately left again because of his existential crisis and dread that he was dealing with. It's very similar to the relationship he has had with Maria Hill at that point before her untimely death, and also with how Talos felt and the reason he allowed more and more of his people to show up on Earth. So yeah, Fury's existential crisis really caused a lot more problems than he had anticipated, basically. The title Betrayal really does play into a factor of potentially his wife's betrayal by teaming up with Gravik, who she has an obvious relationship with along with Fury initially, but also Gaia has been working with her father in order to try to stop Gravik, is revealed by the end of the episode, and supposedly Gaia being killed by Gravik. No real confirmation. But this episode's main focus was also on the fact that a strike team from Gravik's forces have infiltrated a Russian sub in order to attack a UN plane, potentially causing World War III. And the whole episode really revolves around that, and Fury and Talos coming to an agreement to work together to have a better understanding, because they did have a falling out briefly in episode 2. Within that time frame, Talos has his meeting with Gravik, and we see some of the results of what has already happened with the potential of Gravik becoming a Super Skrull. So once Fury and Talos kind of mend their relationship a little bit, one thing about these 2 episodes I really enjoyed, and I'll get back to my thought about Fury and Talos now going to try to stop the strike on the UN plane, but we get to see Fury and Talos really have this old married couple. It's like, even though Fury and Vara are married and they have their relationship, it's equally as strong and, without admitting it, equally as important to Fury as his relationship with Talos. You can tell just by the dialogue and the conversation they both mean a lot to each other. not just as allies. They are friends, and we even saw that in the first episode when they're finally reunited. You can just tell by the character interactions how much they mean to each other. And another thing about character interactions in these two episodes, and one thing I really am enjoying a lot with Secret Invasion, are the interpersonal relationships between all the characters and how they're given time to have these sort of deep conversations. Like, we even see it with Gravik and Gaia, even though Gravik is kind of playing Gaia to a certain extent because he knows that she is working with her father and kind of undermining the operation. But in episode 2, when Rhodey and Fury have their conversation, it goes beyond just a political discussion. These are two people of color who have worked their way up through a system that wasn't designed for them, and they have a shared common life experience because of that. But you see the shift between the two, which also leads to questions about is Rhodey in that conversation and the discussion that they've had. Fury and Talos, they're able to infiltrate the commander's homestead, find out most people are Skrulls, except for, I think, the son. And we also see that they try to trick Fury by calling him Nick when he's impersonating Talos. And Fury knows it's bullshit because no one calls him Nick, which is important with the question of is Rhodey. But once you're able to kind of stop him, and Talos is able to kind of get the right information thanks to Gaia before she's caught by Gravik, to stop the UN plane from being destroyed by getting the proper code. Really cool sequence, pretty tense because everything feels like it's on the precipice of just blowing up in everybody's face. So I really did enjoy that sort of tension, but it wasn't necessarily the original plan. Gravik used it as a way to weed out Gaia, and in doing so, supposedly kills her at the end of the episode. While Fury and Talos have sort of partially repaired their relationship, because Talos does believe in Fury, and that's like the whole point, is that he does believe in what Fury's trying to do since they met. So it kind of shows the bond that they do have with each other. And I think that's the thing that's going to help them overcome Gravik and his machinations, pretty much. Is Gaia dead? Probably not. I'm sure she's still alive, or she's going to be rescued by somebody. You can see within the 2 episodes, Gravik is slowly becoming more unhinged. And I really like his actor's portrayal. I really like how threatening Gravik is without being over the top. He's very calm, he's very calculating, and that's always a good sign of a villain. They do leave this sort of teaser that Gravik is having Vara do something that she probably does not want to do. It probably has something to do with taking Fury off the board, and I don't see that happening. I don't see that becoming a thing. Are there going to be more Super Skrulls? Probably. I'm assuming there's going to be a number of them. But the biggest reason, the biggest cliffhanger that you probably hear people talking about is Rhodey actually Rhodey? Or is Rhodey a Skrull in disguise? The reason being is that during the conversation in episode 2, when Rhodey and Fury are kind of going at it with each other, Rhodey calls Fury Nick. And like we found out with episode 3 is that nobody calls Fury Nick. Except there's a clip from Avengers Age of Ultron where Tony Stark does call Fury Nick.
I saw it. I didn't tell the team. How could I? It's almost dead, Nick. Felt it.
It's almost dead, Nick. Felt it. Dead, Nick.
I'm pretty sure that is actually Tony Stark. So it's possibly a red herring because other people have called him Nick. And they kind of made it out to be like nobody calls him Nick. I'm like, people have called him Nick. Like, a bunch of Avengers have called him Nick, and we know those Avengers are actual humans. At least that's... It is possible they could do that and have this version of Rhodey be a Skrull and the real Rhodey trapped with the others in that underground bunker. That's not too far-fetched for this series. And since most likely the next thing related to this is going to be the Armor Wars series or movie, it would be an interesting through line to see how that affected Rhodey, since he is going to be the lead of that series, if that series is still happening. I'm actually enjoying the series. I'm sorry I'm not doing weekly reviews. It's just a lot of stuff going on. But I am actually enjoying this series so far. It's only been 3 episodes, so we are halfway through the season. Obviously, the next 3 episodes are going to pick up even faster than where they are currently. I'm assuming Gaia will be okay and team up directly with her dad in order to stop Gravik from developing an army of Super Skrulls and starting World War III. It'll be interesting to see if this reveal of Rhodey is a red herring or actually legit and the real Rhodey shows up. I'm not sure, besides Talos, who can Fury trust? And a lot of this is going to boil down to Fury owning up to his mistakes because he made a promise he couldn't keep. He disappeared for a long time and alienated a lot of the closest people to him. He's going to have to rebuild some of those relationships, and obviously Talos was the first one to fix. His wife is probably going to be the next one, most likely, and even there's this weird possibility that maybe he can still get through to Gravik. I doubt it, but we'll have to wait and see in the next 3 episodes. So I'm sure I missed a lot. I kind of summarized 2 episodes together, so let me know anything I missed in the comments down below. Thank you so much for checking out this video and all of my videos, to be completely honest. I really do appreciate it. Again, if you were new here for this review and this happens to be your first time, you enjoyed it, subscribe. I would really appreciate it. I post usually weekly. Every so often I'll post more videos in a week than others, just depends on time. But if you subscribe and you'll pretty much say notify when new videos go up. You can follow me at a lot of different social media platforms listed at the end of the video. So if you comment, I usually interact with the comments. But if you want to have a deeper discussion, you can hit me up on my socials. That's cool. Just be nice, be kind, be a human being. I do have a ton of videos on this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I just posted my Nerd Drinks Volume 3 videos on the channel, as well as my quick review for The Flash. Do all the things just to stay notified. I appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And as always, until next time, I will catch you later. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you did like this video, why not give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends? You can subscribe to the channel by clicking on my gorgeous little face right over there. You can follow me on all the various social media platforms right below. And last but certainly not least, if you've got a few extra minutes, why not check out one of the lovely videos floating right over here. Later.